You son of a bitch.
What would a company need 5 times the GDP of New Zealand just to rent computers? Well, OpenAI just signed a $300 billion cloud computing deal. And no, it's not with Microsoft or Google. Let's break down what this massive deal with Oracle is all about, and why it's such a big move for the future of AI. What's this $300 billion deal all about? So here's the big news. OpenAI and Oracle have signed a $300 billion deal for cloud computing services. The contract will start in 2027 and last for 5 years, which means OpenAI will be spending around $60 billion each year just on computing power. That's an amount most companies can't even dream of spending, but for OpenAI, it's a must. Why so much? OpenAI runs massive AI models, like ChatGPT, DALL, and others that need to be trained using huge amounts of data. To do that, they need access to supercomputers and high-performance servers, which are housed inside giant buildings called data centers. Building and managing that on their own would be incredibly expensive and time-consuming. So OpenAI is working with companies that already have this infrastructure ready to go, and Oracle is one of the biggest names stepping in. This deal means Oracle will supply OpenAI with the cloud power it needs to run and scale its next-generation AI tools. It's not just about giving OpenAI access to servers, it's about giving them the space, speed, and scale required for training AI that could be 10 times or 100 times more powerful than what we're using today. This move puts Oracle front and center in one of this viziv as well. Why does OpenAI need so much computing power? AI models don't just work magically. They become smart by learning from massive amounts of data.
They read text, images, videos, and code, and go over it millions of times to spot patterns, understand language, and learn how to respond. This kind of training is way too heavy for regular computers. It needs supercomputers with high-end chips called GPUs, and not just a few of them, but entire data centers full of machines running non-stop. OpenAI needs this power not just for today's tools like ChatGPT, but for future versions that are going to be even smarter, faster, and more complex. The demand is growing fast, and OpenAI can't afford to run out of computing power. That's why deals like this one with Oracle are so important. They lock in the infrastructure needed to keep improving AI without hitting a wall. OpenAI didn't start off with Oracle. For years it worked mainly with Microsoft, which invested billions into the company and provided access to Microsoft's cloud platform, Azure. That partnership gave OpenAI the power it needed to train early versions of its tools. But as the company grew, it became clear that relying on just one partner wouldn't be enough. In mid-2024, OpenAI started bringing in Oracle's cloud services as part of its infrastructure. That was the beginning of a major shift. With this new $300 billion deal, Oracle is no longer just a backup option. It's now a core partner. This also gives OpenAI more flexibility, as it's not locked into any one company's services or pricing. The move is about staying nimble and future-proof. Other companies like Google and SoftBank are also getting involved. So now, OpenAI is building a web of partnerships across the cloud industry. This makes it more resilient. If one provider has issues, another can step in. Kind of like having multiple power lines going to one city. It's safer, smarter, and helps OpenAI avoid any single point of failure. Would you trust just one provider to power the entire future of AI? What is Project Stargate and how is it connected? Now let's talk about Project Stargate. A name that sounds like science fiction but is very real. This is a $500 billion plan supported by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank. The goal? To build massive US-based data centers that are built specifically to support advanced AI workloads. It's one of the largest infrastructure projects in tech history. Out of that total investment, $300 billion is coming from the Oracle deal. That means over half of Stargate's funding is already in motion. These new data centers will house next-generation computing systems, not just for running today's AI tools, but for future models that don't even exist yet. These centers will be custom-built, with energy efficiency and scale in mind to make sure they can handle whatever AI throws at them next. There's also a strategic side to keeping these data centers in the United States. It gives the government and companies more control over how data is handled, keeps important systems within national borders, and helps avoid reliance on foreign infrastructure. It's about power, both literally and politically. Oracle's involvement makes it clear they're aiming to be one of the top names in AI infrastructure, not just now, but for the long haul. Oracle has been around for years, mainly known for database software, but lately it's been pushing into cloud computing to compete with Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. This $300 billion deal is a massive win that puts Oracle right in the middle of the AI race. Their stock price jumped after the news broke, showing that investors see this as a huge step forward. Getting a contract of this size from a major AI company like OpenAI is a clear sign that Oracle is leveling up. It's now playing in the big leagues of AI infrastructure. $300 billion isn't just a big number. It's one of the largest tech deals in history. That amount is higher than the GDP of many entire countries, and more than Apple makes in some years. It's also larger than most national defense or infrastructure budgets, and all of that money is going toward building smarter, faster, and more powerful AI systems. It shows how seriously companies are betting on AI becoming the core of future technology. What does this mean for the future of AI? This deal shows that OpenAI is thinking long-term, not just about the next ChatGPT, but the future of all AI. Smarter tools, faster learning, and AI that can handle complex tasks on its own are all in sight. By keeping these new data centers inside the US, OpenAI is also making a move to protect data and follow regulations more closely. It could also help avoid conflicts tied to international control over AI resources. With big tech companies racing ahead, this deal just raised the bar for everyone. But what about the risks? It's a huge deal, but it's not without downsides. Data centers use a massive amount of electricity, which affects the environment. There's also a big question mark around whether OpenAI will actually make enough money to justify this level of spending. Right now, they're spending way more than they earn, which makes this a risky long-term bet. On top of that, many are calling for stronger rules to manage the growing power of AI. Even with all these concerns, OpenAI seems ready to go all in. Let's see how this plays out, because one thing's for sure. The future of AI is going to need a lot of power, and OpenAI just made sure they'll have it. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.